From Idaho Falls, Idaho, in the middle of April, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show. Coming up this week, 4 things that we're doing on our bikes that we really shouldn't be, and one that we're doing which might actually be fine. We've also got cyclists versus snakes, Arnold Schwarzenegger in trouble for filling in potholes, the true cost of cycling in Denmark, and the Pogačar versus Kwiatkowski race you never thought you'd see. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that today Pogačar isn't just fast at riding a bike. Impressive, but not as impressive as Michael Kwiatkowski. There you go, Pogačar can be beaten. We also learnt that bike packing in the Philippines is a bit slow going.
We just did the first 4 kilometers in 35 minutes. Because this climb is between 15 and 20% the whole time so far. It's super steep and it's super hard. And I kind of get the feeling that it's trying to kill us.
Dropped by a retired sprinter, Conor.
I did get dropped by Marcel, yeah. But he is strong, and I'm going to counter that by saying I was actually carrying extra weight, namely the tent and camping equipment around the entire route, which I didn't actually need.
You used it.
Yeah, we got to our designated campsite, and the really kind owner had set up our tents and sleep bags for us. Oh. So went up the hardest climbs in the Philippines with 5 extra kilos for no reason. But it was an amazing trip. It was brilliant to ride through the Philippines, and it's so nice to hear from you all who have managed to watch the film so far, so thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, although I wasn't there in the Philippines, I also thoroughly enjoyed watching that documentary and watching you both suffer. If you'd like to catch the full documentary, it's available now on GCN Plus and entitled Slow Pro Tour Philippines for obvious reasons.
To suffer a good bit. Finally this week though, we learned that Spotify is now integrated into the Strava app, meaning that you can listen to music whilst you walk, run or swim.
Or ride, indeed. But should you be listening to music whilst you're riding? I mean, obviously there's no problem if you're on a stationary bike indoors, but there is a debate to be had as to whether or not it's safe for you, and indeed for others, if you had headphones in whilst riding. Do you listen, or did you listen to music when you used to be training hard?
Yeah, but only on quiet roads, and I'd always take my headphones out if I was going through busy urban areas. What about yourself?
I was very similar. Yeah, back in the day I'd often listen to music or podcasts or recordings of old Ricky Gervais XFM radio shows with Carl Pilkington. I must admit I didn't really think too much at the time as to whether it was dangerous or not. I never had it loud enough that I couldn't hear traffic, and like you, I would remove my headphones in busier areas.
But did we need to? Research by doctors, young Nicol and Arnold at the University of Westminster 10 years ago looked at urban cyclists using headphones and concluded that they were at no more risk and posed no more risk than those that don't.
Yeah, that research suggested that listening to music can in fact have quite a calming effect that can help cyclists negotiate challenging situations on the road. In the same way, in fact, that it does for motorists who listen to music inside their vehicles.
I do have one example of why I do think that headphones should be banned though.
What's that?
Well, this can happen.
I see a little silhouette of 'em. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?
Well, I take your point, Conor. Conclusion is that cycling with headphones should be banned because of Psy. But in all seriousness, let us know in the comments below what you think. Is it dangerous to ride with headphones, or does it make no difference at all?
It did get us thinking about other things that we do on our bike that we maybe shouldn't know, and we've come up with 4.
We have, yeah. So number 1, riding next to bike races if you're an adult.
Yeah, if you're a kid, fair enough. And there have been a good couple of examples in recent years, including this one from Brabantse Peel last week.
Yep. I always like seeing that.
Yeah, I love it.
However, if you're an adult, do not even try. You'll either look silly because you can't keep up with the pros, or you'll look silly because this happens.
I mean, I shouldn't laugh.
I think you're safe to laugh as long as they haven't hurt themselves too badly.
Yeah, good point.
Now, another thing we shouldn't do is copy the pros' riding positions unless we are competing ourselves. Firstly, it's not the most comfortable, is it? No. Secondly, it's not conducive to being in the best control of your bike. And thirdly, you might permanently damage your back, as I found out recently when I tried to ride one of my old bikes.
It is surprising and a little bit sad how quickly you lose the flexibility to be fully slammed, isn't it? Okay, number 3, using your road bike off-road.
And we specifically mean dedicated road bikes. Yes, they are more than capable of riding off-road, and yes, pros use road bikes in races such as Strade Bianche or Trobro Lyon.
Or the Gravel World Champs.
Very true, but there wasn't much gravel. But then they don't pay for their bikes, do they? The likelihood is that stones are going to flick up, chip your paint, and that your drivetrain will wear out twice as fast as it would do on the road. Can be a costly exercise, can't it? Right, number 4.
Number 4, racing on the open road is something I'm seeing more and more of, and admittedly something I've done in the past. The main culprits are middle-aged men in Lycra who, as soon as they're in the group of cyclists, decide they want to show just how good they are.
I've also seen this a fair bit recently. And it's fine if you're on extremely quiet roads to a degree, but those are getting fewer and further between, aren't they? But watching a group of cyclists all over the road, hogging it, sprinting for a town site in traffic, always makes me cringe. Partly because I'm worried about them crashing, but partly because I always think it makes cyclists look bad.
Yeah, particularly as town signs where we are at least are normally located in quite a busy area.
Exactly, yes. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. What are cyclists regularly doing that you don't think we should? And do you disagree with anything we've just said? Let us know in the comment section just down below.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, starting with Alex House's bike run through for his gravel racing ambitions this year. The American ex-pro on the road of over 15 years had an unexpected guest whilst running through the details of his Cannondale over the Belgian waffle ride in San Diego.
I'm sure you'd have stayed as cool talking about your bike in those circumstances, wouldn't you, Connor?
I would have been out of that situation faster than that snake can run. I don't know if snakes run, they got a snake.
I'd have been the same. No way I'd have stayed that close. Well, one person who I am sure has no fear of snakes whatsoever is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and as it turns out, no fear of a bit of DIY either. The Terminator was out on his local roads in LA recently, filling in a pothole that had been driving him mad apparently.
However, his roadwork didn't go down well with everyone, mainly the Department of Public Works, who countered that the filled-in pothole was actually a service trench for the gasworks, which hasn't been completed yet, so he's got to dig it up again.
Yeah. I wonder who they sent though over to see Arnold Schwarzenegger to tell him he needs to fill it back in. I've got a feeling that pothole will be filled in for quite some time.
I have a feeling. Plenty of potholes on the roads of London here in the UK too that Arnie could have a look at if he wanted to, and if you are in the British capital, you may have noticed plenty of Lime's rental e-bikes available for hire. It turns out though that a few people may be using them for free.
Yeah, seems like there's some sort of flaw in either the software or the hardware, doesn't it? We're not sure exactly what, but essentially a few videos have been doing the rounds on TikTok showing how to hack into the hire bikes and ride off for free without even being traced.
Oof. Unfortunately though, the motor won't work, so you will have a very heavy e-bike to cruise around on, but the flaw has prompted Lime Bikes to release a statement saying they are aware of the issue and are looking at solutions.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother without the motor, personally. Now, unsuspecting hackers may have got a shock up some of the hills because the motor didn't work and regretted not paying for the privilege of a little helping hand, you would imagine. If you're renting a city bike in Montreal, however, you'll now be able to do so through the winter months.
Yeah, our audience in Canada is always pointing out to us that their winter is much harsher than ours, so it appears they have once again trumped our complaints about the cold close to our GCN HQ. Montreal's Bixie bikes will now be available to rent year-round, complete with studded winter tyres and snow clearing teams at hire stations.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. And never forget the power of the bike. That was further proved last week, in fact, in research highlighted by the Danish Centre of Cycling Knowledge, which showed that Danish society as a whole benefits by 96 cents per kilometre travelled and 55 cents per kilometre travelled by an e-bike.
In total, they say cycling benefits Denmark by 2.3 billion euros
That's a lot, isn't
yearly.
It? Definitely a cause to encourage more people to go on bikes, isn't it? If you're riding from the comfort of your own home over on Zwift, however, you may have noticed there's a few new features. The main one, the virtual coffee stop.
Yeah, this feature allows you to jump off the bike for up to 3 minutes, run to the loo or fill your bottles up, or both. That's how you roll. Then jump back on the bike and stay in the group you were with.
Or just get a coffee.
Yeah, just get a coffee, yeah, that's true.
There is also a rider teleport function, so you can jump across in-game to another rider who's just started Zwifty. Plus, and this is really cool, take on some of the world's most famous climbs over on Zwift. Segment Portal is the new feature, starting with the Tourmalet and Col d'Aspin, recreating mountain roads in Zwift. So you can try them from wherever you may be Zwifting from.
Zwift are going to be adding more climbs too in the future, so stay tuned for that. I'm hoping for a Koppenberg segment. What about you, Dan?
Maybe the Mur de Huy. Experience just how hard that climb is in real life, which is a climb, coincidentally, that features on La Flèche Wallonne on Wednesday. That was a terrible segue, wasn't it? And we've got the whole race for you, women's and men's, over on GCN+.
Yep, that race builds to Liège-Bastogne-Liège on Sunday, where we'll be showing the men's and women's races, and the Old Lady, which is arguably the hardest monument of them all. I think so anyway, despite spending a third of the race in the broom wagon when I took it on.
Well, there's no shame in that, mate. I never even did Liège-Bastogne-Liège, but we do have a La Doyenne t-shirt available over on shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. Away from the Ardennes, the Tour of the Alps started yesterday and runs through to Friday, and you can catch that on GCN Plus as well. Territory restrictions do apply to all of the racing that we've just talked about, so check whether or not it's available where you are.
We've also got a cracking new documentary out this week. Checkpoint Barcelona sees British fixie rider Alec Briggs take on local resident and two-time Tour stage winner Juan Antonio Fletcher.
Their aim? Reach as many checkpoints as possible in 2 hours, armed only with a Polaroid camera, a map and a bike. Here's a sneak peek.
This is the ultimate checkpoint challenge.
2 hours to hit designated landmarks.
Collecting the most points possible in a scramble around the city.
A test of strategy.
I'm gonna definitely go for the ones on the outside first.
Maybe I can just link something together and wing it and pull it off.
Oh, I don't know, man. Speed. It's like being back at Red Hook Crit Barcelona.
And urban savviness.
Oh,
Yeah, kitty. A bit nervous, you know. Oh my God.
why is everyone dressed up as clowns, man?
We're there. Oh my God.
The street racing tourist.
It won't work, man. This is rigged. Versus the Catalonian classics legend.
Oh no, no way.
The stupidest bike to do this on.
This city is mad.
Now, that's my kind of city break.
Hack / bodge of the week now. The first one this week has been submitted by somebody with the username Hacky Bodger.
Pretty good.
Perfect for this part of the show. It's called SpongeBob Bum Boil. Stupidly borrowed my friend's Brooks Cambium saddle for a 3-day tour, not realising it's like sitting on concrete. Backside was raw by the end of day one. Improvised this with 3 kitchen sponges from the local supermarket and a roll of vet tape that I'd fortuitously packed at the last minute. Crisis averted. Still a bit painful, but completed the ride.
You wouldn't want to use those sponges for the dishes after that ride.
No, you wouldn't.
Smelly dishes.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I think it's a hack. I mean, if it's helped you ride out and you got through it, then fair play. I wouldn't do it myself.
No.
I find it uncomfortable.
You'd have thought you could have found a shop with a spare saddle to buy, wouldn't you, in that period of time? But maybe there weren't any nearby. I'm reluctant to say that's a hack. I mean, it looks ghastly.
I think it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit of bodge actually.
Possibly not as ghastly as the effects of the saddle, but there we go. I'm going with bodge.
I'm going bodge as well, sorry.
Well, most people are. 69.
69%.
Went with bodge.
Moving on to Daniel 51 Bertolaccini. Magnetic knife holder with an old chain, magnetic knife hanger made out of an old chain, couple of chain links, 2 magnets inside, fixed with double-sided tape. I feel double-sided tape is a bodge in and of itself.
Well, especially hanging knives.
Yeah, I was
Just one falling off whilst you're working on the kitchen surface there, would you?
I'm not, yeah, I think it's going to be another bodge. Because
it looks neat. I will give them that. It looks very neat indeed. It's sort of like the display that I would like for my own knives. Except I've got a thing to put that sharpens them as they go in and out each time, so I couldn't. But anyway, I'm going to go bodge just because I'm a bit worried about the safety.
Yeah, I'm going to go bodge too.
The double-sided tape.
You could end up cutting your veggies or something if it comes off and you have a chain in your veggies.
Yeah, well, or something worse than that. Yeah, your finger. Like I did. Soon after breaking my ankle, chopped the end of my finger off with my self-sharpening knives. Right, well, it was voted, let me get to it, 81% hack.
Oh, okay, so total disagreement with us.
Yeah, people weren't thinking about the danger side of it. Next one from Full English. No end cap, no problem. Due to failing eyesight and a garage workshop that looks like a small incendiary device that has gone off, I could not find my cable end caps. Not wanting to be stabbed in the leg, I turned to using a small piece of heat shrinked tubing to finish the gear cable. But that's a hack from me straight away. That looks brilliant.
That's a hack from me. I think it's almost an improvement on an end cap.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty smart.
If you're able to do that. The one thing I would say is the XS cable is a little bit long for my liking.
That's true. You could have chopped it down a bit.
Yeah,
but
before the heat shrinking wrapping, you could have cut the cable a bit more. But apart from that minor niggle, I would say definitely a hack.
Yeah, I'd go for a hack. I mean, I've got no idea how heat shrinking works. So
no, me neither. We're not exactly hot on DIY, are we?
Excuse the pun.
Right, 86% of you agreed with us on that one, or vice versa, saying that was a hack.
Moving on to Junasojaletto. Pretty sure I got that right. Tip-top patch. Ripped the hood on my rival lever while changing cables last autumn. Need a quick fix, so I used a tip-top tube patch for a temporary fix. It's all held up so well, so I've left it.
Oh, well, I was going with hack until that point. When you said temporary fix, I was like, yeah, that's fine, as long as it gets you through a few rides until you find a better solution. But they just left it there.
I mean, it's working though, and he doesn't have to get new hoods.
It's working, but it's got an orange outer that makes it look like...
I'd just get a little permanent...
like a repaired inner tube, obviously.
I'd get a little permanent marker and just black it over.
You used to be able to get patches that didn't have the orange bit around the edge, didn't you? I mean, that would be better.
Yeah.
At least it wouldn't be quite so visible.
I'm going to go hack because it's...
Well, I'm going to be Scroogey, just go bodge.
Okay, fine. Well, the audience says 68% hack, so my side of the table.
Well done, Jonas. Right, as ever, we would love for you to get involved by submitting your own hacks and bodges or something that you might have seen out and about. All you need to do is upload them to the GCN app and make sure you keep on voting on what other people have submitted as well. We absolutely love this part of the show.
Time for Caption Competition now, where you guys get the chance of winning a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. We just pick your best captions on one of the following photos, starting with last week's photo, which was Van der Poel and Philipsen kind of commiserating with Degenkolb.
Yeah, and you'd imagine apologising to a degree as well, yes. Yeah. And our winner is AJ. Sorry, mate, I just saw Andrew Feathers stolen your last KOM.
We've all been there, haven't we?
Yeah, you can imagine that sort of reaction.
Devastated. It's a good one.
Getting the notification through and you're just distraught and wailing around on the floor. Well done, AJ. Send us a message on Facebook and let us know what your address is so we can get an elite bottle out to you. Rather convoluted caption from yours truly this week for this week's photo, which is this one from the Amstel Gold podium on Sunday. It's going to involve both me and Conor. I'm going to be Tom Pidcock and Conor is going to be Tadej Pogačar.
Okay.
Just use your imagination. Right, here we go then.
I'm still drinking.
That's the other way round. You're Pogačar. You got to say I'm almost finished. Come on. You say I'm almost finished.
We rehearsed this so much. Wait, okay, right.
Right, go on.
I'm almost finished.
I'm still drinking. There we go. I know I used that same caption last year, but couldn't think of anything else. And I was so proud of it last year, I thought I'd use it again this time around. Do your best in the comment section down below, and one of you will win a bottle like this next week. Right, we'll be back in about an hour when Conor's recovered. A few of our favourite comments from last week's videos before we let you know what's coming up on the channel this week, starting with a few that came under the show last week, presented by Hank and Conor. Ben Shannon put, Hank, I've crashed on my driveway. Yes, but to be fair, Hank, your driveway is 5 miles long.
It's kind of true, actually.
He's done quite a few rides where he's never got beyond his driveway and his grounds, hasn't he?
Yeah. I liked this comment from Les Flynn as well. I'm not unfamiliar with these two, but seeing them presenting the GCN show, which was mostly Dan Lloyd and Matt Richardson. It's not you, a straight face. For so long was Comedy Central, now they have enough history together to have a certain chemistry. Keep up, guys. GCN's doing so well. Big thanks, Les. Thanks for watching the show.
Well, I'm glad, Les, that you can remember all of my name, but put Matt Stevens and Cy Richardson together, lump them into one. David of Oakland put, that was a brilliant caption competition, comment of the week by Conor, unlike this week's. I vote for his comments to be the winner next week.
Oh, thanks, David. I'm glad someone believes in me. Yeah.
Meanwhile, under our modern bikes, terrible, shall we say, Tim H. wrote, I'm always envious when you release videos with the glorious weather in the UK. It makes me want to move there so I can consistently ride in the grey, gloomy, rainy conditions. We were just discussing, actually, before we started filming, that about 5 days ago, our long-term 10-day forecast here where we are had wall-to-wall sun, wasn't it? And then it changed. And now we've got a forecast full of rain again.
It's absolutely miserable.
I mean, it just really gave us some false hope there.
Yeah, although it's good for my raspberries. I planted 5 over the weekend, so they need to be well watered.
Okay, yeah, I might do some overseeding of my lawn, I think.
Watch this space.
I'll video it for you.
On to gravel riding tips, which I presented last week with Ollie Beckinsale. He's got some skills. Oh my gosh. And I haven't, but it was great to catch up with him. A lot of good comments on the show.
Oh, Beckinsale. Sorry, I was like, what? I thought he said Bridgewood.
Yeah, no.
It says Ollie and then skills, and I was just like, what, are you joking?
Totally different Ollie.
Sorry, carry on.
This comment was sent in by Patrick O'Rourke. Get the proper bike, a mountain bike. Jesweld, buy a mountain bike. E-bike scrapper, buy a mountain bike.
Yeah, there was a theme going on in that comment section, wasn't there?
Will we get into that argument now?
No.
We'll leave that for another day. We'll leave it for another day.
Underneath, why do cyclists shave their legs? Philip Cooper put, shaved legs, arms, puts a cap on to gain aero, has a beard. It almost seems like Ollie didn't really care for aero, he just wanted to shave his legs and arms. Maybe it's true, we'll ask him at some point. Whilst Brocker P put, I found shaving arms and legs also makes applying sunscreen much more efficient and I use a lot less product. I'm naturally bald, so I finally found a reason to be thankful for that.
That's a good point. The flip side is you just grow your leg hair so long that it's like a natural tree around you.
A tree?
Like branches of a tree.
Yeah.
Shadow your legs.
Like an overseeded lawn. Anyway, on the channel this week, on Wednesday, carbs, pro cyclist secrets. It's no secret that the amount of carbs per hour that pro cyclists are now consuming is about 5 times what it was recommended when I was back riding a bike.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Is it the same difference to when you were racing?
Yeah, similar. So now the idea is just to get as many carbs in as you can per hour, and pros are really just upping the intake. So quite eye-watering amounts actually.
Yeah, like 130 grams per hour.
Some upwards of 160 grams.
No.
Yeah. So I spoke to World Tour nutritionist Tim Podlicker for Bora Hansgrohe, and he was giving me a bit of insight into what some of his riders are doing these days. It's pretty incredible.
Quite good, you probably don't need to eat for the rest of the day.
That's the thing, that's part of the idea.
Right. Thursday, 5 beginner mistakes. So if you or if anyone you know is just getting into cycling for the first time, that'll be a good video for you. And on Friday, bar bag versus saddle bag. Yep. I will be very interested to watch this one because back in my day, it was a bit of a no-no using a bar bag, but that's changed drastically, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the kind of vogue.
Because you can't fit 160. If you're doing a 5-hour ride and you need 800 grams of carbohydrates,
well, it's
hard to fit in a saddlebag, isn't it?
That is a good point because actually on Sunday I'm going to take on some of the advice that Tim Podlicker was kind of letting me know about, and I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to head out and carb up to the gills and hopefully see some improvements and not spend the rest of the ride on the toilet.
Yeah, that's Sunday's video, isn't it?
That's Sunday. We've got something on Saturday first.
We have, yeah. Can we ride faster than a 15-year-old? Can you explain that?
Well, this is Hank. So he's challenged a 15, but that's about all I know. This is one of his wild ideas.
Might have to edit this part of the show out. But you should also keep your eyes out on GCN Tech because they'll be showing you the best parts of the London Bike Show. So that's on Saturday. And yeah, you'll find out what on earth we've been talking about on GCN that day. Right, that pretty much brings us to the end of this week's GCN Show. Thanks once again for watching. It'll be me with Matt Richardson back with you in just a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks, everyone.